Yo, what up, guys? I wanted to make a guide on XDefiant, and I know it is literally the first day the game came out, but I see a lot of newbie mistakes a lot of people are doing when I play the game, and I wanted to help you guys become the best XDefiant player that you can possibly be. And I'm going to go over things like strategy, what guns to pick, what characters to pick, and in general, how to frag out whenever you go into a game. Now, first up, let's actually talk about the characters or the factions. The way you can think about each of these different factions is how do you want to have your playstyle? And there are going to be certain characters which are better for certain types of playstyle. So, for example, let's say that you love to be up close and personal and you want to use a shotgun, maybe even an SMG, then I would actually recommend Echelon because they can go invisible or even have wall hacks, which allows them to navigate the map safely, either by knowing where the enemy is at or just being invisible. And they can get behind the enemy or at least close the gap without being punished. And then they can abuse their things like shotguns or their SMG, where those weapons shine. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you have other characters like DeadSec or Cleaners, which are more kind of aggressive, but they can't really close the gap because they don't have something like a shield like the Phantoms have or invisibility like Echelon have. So in general, if you play Cleaners or DeadSec, then I would recommend having something like a marksman rifle or an AR, something that's all around good and allows you to, fight in those mid to long ranges, because there are going to be a lot of times where you're stuck in a mid to long range fight because obviously you're playing a type of character that doesn't have some type of gap closer of any sort. And then if you want to have a more supportive role, then you can play Libertad or whatever, however you say that. I don't want to sound stupid, but if you play them, they are a little bit more supportive. They have a heal, and that's more of a kind of an all-arounder type faction as well. Similar to DeadSec or Cleaners, you probably want to run something like an AR or a marksman rifle, something where you can kind of be ready for any given situation, because again, you're playing a more kind of aggressive character where you can't really close the gap like Phantom or Echelon can. But let's try to dive a little bit deeper and let's talk about the guns and what I think the most powerful guns are, and also what type of character you should play with that gun. So let's actually head right in. And they're going to be, 6 different types of guns here: assault rifle, SMG, shotgun, LMG, yada, yada, yada. And in general, after playing this game for a lot of hours today, the best guns that I found are actually going to be something like a P90, maybe an MP7 for the SMG category, because the time to kill, if you can close the gap, is extremely low. Like, you can frag out with a P90, whereas something like an assault rifle, which is meant to be an all-around good weapon, and in a lot of games, the assault rifles are kind of the go-to weapon for a lot of different players because they kind of excel in every category and don't have a lot of weaknesses. But in this particular game, I kind of feel like the assault rifles do lack a lot of strength. They are overall good weapons and you can excel with them and frag out, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Now, like I said earlier, if you want to play something like DeadSec, which is what I've been playing, an AR is actually quite good because I'm finding myself in a lot of different engagements at different ranges. So it's an all around good weapon. But depending on the map, you don't even need to go like something like Echelon, because the maps are so condensed. A lot of the fights are naturally going to be closer range. And in those type of maps, and this game is very map dependent, if you haven't gathered that already, you want to have an SMG because a P90 will just shred people with an AR. Like, if two players are accurate with each other, you are going to beat an AR player with something like a P90. So you should keep that in mind. P90, MP7, those guns are actually really strong at the moment. And now that we're talking about close range, shotguns are also extremely strong. They're actually really freaking annoying to me, and I get tilted when I fight shotgun players because of how powerful they can be. But like I said, if you want to go Echelon on a bigger map so you can close the gap with invisibility, or if it's a smaller map where you can kind of get away with playing any character, shotguns can be extremely powerful because they can one-tap people. The M870 and the double barrel are extremely strong and they can one-shot. So they're both probably S tier given different maps because of how strong being able to one-tap people is. And if you want to play a map like Domination, or I don't know what the other game modes are, but basically where you're capping a point, playing Phantoms and having that big shield can be really strong when you have a shotgun, because you deny people the ability to punish you from range because you have a huge shield. And then when they push into you with your shotgun, you literally just one tap them. So shotguns are also extremely strong in certain given situations. LMGs, on the other hand, I actually haven't fought anybody using them, and I haven't actually used them myself yet. And in general, I don't think LMGs are all too strong, but I could be wrong here. I actually haven't tested these out yet, so I'm going to leave these up in the air. But now we have probably the most broken weapon in the game, and that is the MK20. This marksman rifle literally excels at everything. It is good long range, it's good close range, it can two-tap people in the body with a really good fire rate. This weapon is broken, and I guarantee you in the coming days and weeks, if they don't nerf it, you will see more of this weapon. So if you're a new player and you want to just pop off, especially if you're on MNK, then definitely use the MK20 because it is ridiculous right now. This thing is a powerhouse, and when I want to frag out and drop 50 kills, I put on this weapon and it's possible. And now we have another type of weapon, kind of like the shotgun, which are the snipers, where they are extremely strong and annoying. They can one-shot you, but they're the exact opposite of the shotgun, where shotgun you want to be close range. Well, obviously with the sniper, you want to be long range. But if you can hit those one taps, you are going to excel on the sniper rifle, especially because I kind of feel like the snipers, the hitbox on the headshot is really big in this game. There are a lot of times where I'm using a marksman rifle and I'm clearly hitting somebody in the shoulder, but it counts as a headshot. That happens a lot with the sniper as well. And you can get a lot of kills you probably don't deserve with a sniper rifle. And because of that, it's definitely like an A tier, maybe even an S tier, depending on how good you are with it, because of that one-shot potential. And it can be used in close range, long range, medium range, depending on how good your aim is with it. And now, yeah, those are going to be kind of my overview of the different weapons. I think the winners are definitely the SMG, shotgun, marksman rifle, and sniper, where I feel like the LMG, the assault rifle, are kind of a little bit bad. I don't know what they could do with them. I honestly feel like the game's time to kill would be more fun if every gun kind of had the time to kill of an assault rifle, because I feel like there's a lot of skill expression with assault rifles at the moment, because if you really want to pop off, you have to go for headshots, which obviously makes aiming a bit harder. And that skill gap is actually, in my opinion, good for the game. But you can play something like a marksman rifle and double body shot right now and just have an infinitely lower time to kill, it feels like, than the assault rifles, for a lot easier of aiming. So in general, I just feel like assault rifles and LMGs are good, but they're just not insane. But now that we've talked about the guns and the characters, and now I kind of want to get into the meat and potatoes of the video, where I actually talk to you about strategy and how you should be playing the game if you want to drop 50 kills or more, because there's kind of a lot of nuance to this game, funnily enough. Now, the very first thing I want to bring up is that audio in this game is actually quite poor. There is going to be a lot of times when you play XDefiant, and you're going to have 3 people running behind you and you'll have no idea they're there. It's crazy to me. I don't know what's going on with the audio, but we can't really change that. All we can do is tell the developers, hey, the audio is bad. But I want to let you guys know that bad audio is a double-edged sword. You can actually use it to your advantage in the same way that, it'll be used against you, where somebody will sneak up behind you full sprinting without you knowing. But in general, because audio is so bad, you can't really rely on it too much, meaning that in a lot of games, you want to be on the outskirts of the map. You want to be traversing the flank pretty much at all times, unless you're trying to capture a point or something, because it'll lower the amount of angles you have to fight at. Because if you're playing on the side of the map, obviously if you're like on the left edge, people can't come from outside of the map and shoot you in the back. No, they can only come out from your right side. So it lowers the amount of angles you have to look out for. And on top of that, because audio is so bad, you can catch a lot of people off guard because you're coming from this weird, awkward flank. So use that to your advantage. And because you can also get flanked, you really have to pay attention to your teammates in your minimap in this game. It is extremely, I can't emphasize enough, extremely important if you play this game and want to frag out, that you look at your minimap a lot. And I know this is a general rule for a lot of games, like, look at your minimap, but to make it a little bit more concrete for you guys, what you should really be looking out for is, one, where are your teammates at? So if your teammates are going off to your right, then and you don't hear them shooting, then you know that, oh, okay, there aren't any enemies on my right. They can't be there. So I should be pre-aiming a left angle where enemies can come from. And that's extremely useful. And there's going to be a lot of times, if you actually use your minimap and use process of elimination, where you're going to be able to take a fair fight with a flanker because you used your minimap to know, okay, the enemies can't be over here. Instead, I'm going to know that they're going to be coming from the flank because my teammates haven't made contact from the path they're taking. So that's a little bit convoluted, but just in general, use your mini map and try to dissect it and understand where the enemies can be coming from. And also, another extremely important thing to do in this game is to go for headshots for pretty much every gun because it lowers the time to kill a lot. If you've played with ARs, you probably know that the time to kill can feel quite long if you go only for body shots, especially if you're shooting long range. But if you do manage to go for headshots, you can even beat somebody with an SMG, maybe even a shotgun, if you hit a lot of headshots. And to me, that's really awesome. I do like the fact that headshots are so important in this game because it elevates the skill cap and the romance a little bit of the gunplay because, you know, you're going to go for headshots and you're going to be rewarded for it. However, I do think they have to nerf a couple of weapons like the marksman rifle because that weapon can two-tap people in the body and not have to go for a headshot, which is, in my opinion, ruins the skill expression of the game. But that's a different story entirely. And now we can go on to another point I have about strategy in this game, and it's that you should typically stick with a teammate. And I know that's something very prevalent in a lot of team-based shooters where, yeah, no crap, you should be sticking with a teammate. But in this game in particular, because the time to kill is so low, you should be trying to get traded by a teammate. If you try to push by yourself and you die, because you will die because the time to kill is so short, and if you get surprised, you're going to die instantly and there's not going to be a lot of counterplay. Playing with a teammate allows you to make up for a mistake by allowing them to trade you, kind of like if you play a TAC FPS game where in general you want to be playing with a teammate because the time to kill is so freaking low. On the flip side, if you feel like you want to push yourself a little bit and show your skill, or if you already are a really good player, then you can take a solo flank if you think you can win a lot of your gunfights because you can get a lot of value. If you're able to take a flank and pick off people trying to get to the point from afar without them being able to really shoot back at you, that's extremely valuable. Or if you're able to pick off people on high ground and take that high ground for yourself, that is also extremely strong. But that does require you to actually be able to hit a lot more of your shots because guess what? You don't have a teammate to back you up. If you mess up, you're going to die and you're going to kind of throw away a little bit of a lead for your team. Now, this is kind of going into more complex strategies, and if you want to play ranked, you might want to pay attention to this a little bit more. But obviously, if you're just playing unranked and want to frag out, you probably are just going to go on the flank by yourself and just try to get as many kills as you can. But I thought I'd mention, you know, that you probably should be with a teammate. Also, guys, the final point I want to make is that whenever you're trying to take a fight, you should immediately try to go for a kill and then rotate off of that position. Because if you're the enemy team, you're going to hear the gunfire. They're going to know where you're at and where you killed their teammate from. So they're immediately going to look for you there in that location. And if you immediately rotate, especially because audio is really bad, you will probably get the drop on multiple people because you keep rotating around a fight and they don't know where you're at. And you can keep getting kill after kill after kill. And that is one strategy I use a lot whenever I'm playing a game like XDefiant, in that I keep trying to rotate so that I can keep taking fights and be unexpected. And now for the final part of the video, I'm going to talk about my personal opinions on the game and also what I think some of the, you know, interesting parts of it are. And in general, I don't see a lot of people playing DedSec, which is kind of an interesting type of role because their abilities seem a little bit more niche, and because of that I've been trying to play them a little bit more. And Spiderbot to me is kind of like a low-key intel suit because it allows you to follow your Spiderbot once you activate it, and it'll lead you to the closest person and stun them for an easy kill. In my opinion, I feel like if DedSec becomes more popular, they're going to be an extremely annoying character because I know for a fact, and I'm going to put clips in here in the background, it is such a goofy type of character to send out your Spiderbot and it locks onto somebody and you get a free kill. I know it's going to piss a lot of people off, but I think it's a lot of fun. And on the other side of it, the Lockout Ultra, which allows you to disable everybody's abilities, can be very strong, but it's also kind of seems a little bit niche. It doesn't have that immediate feedback and power that you would expect from other Ultras, where if you play Echelon, you can see everybody on the map on the enemy team through walls, and on top of that, you can one-shot headshot them with a silenced pistol. But the strength of Lockout is that you can counteract any ultimate near you. So the way you want to use it is you don't want to pop it out of nowhere. You want to wait for the enemy team to pop their ultimate and then counter it with your own. It's kind of like KO Ultimate from Valorant if you've ever played that game, where Yes, you can use it to push onto a point that you're trying to contest, but you can also use it to counter other players' ultimates. And it's actually really good for you. If you can counter their ultimate with your own, it cancels each other out. But on top of that, you're also disabling everybody else's utility on the enemy team. So you can take an advantage away from them and make it your own advantage with the lockout ultimate ability. But in general, I think I've had the most fun with DedSec, primarily because of how goofy it is, and I've been trying to complete the challenge to unlock this chick over here on the left because, you know, unlocking stuff is cool. But yeah, I think I've been having a lot of fun with the game. But on the other side of things, it does have things like hit reg issues, which is exacerbated with iron sights for whatever reason. I know whenever I try to unlock a new weapon and upgrade it, those first few games where I have to use an iron sight feels extremely bad. I don't know why. It feels like my bullets are going straight through the enemy players and it's extremely tilting, but I don't know why. I actually think it's because of the iron sight. And on the other side of things, it is really annoying to get shot around a corner when you feel like you're safe. People are killing you like because of desync or something. That is also extremely frustrating. But if you just want a casual shooter game where you can just run around, frag out, have some fun, this game is actually up there for me in terms of fun. It's kind of like COD, but a little bit higher time to kill, and there's input-based matchmaking. And I don't want to piss too many people off with my own opinions between aim assist and MNK, but in general, in my opinion as an MNK player is that I don't think they can properly balance MNK and controller, and I prefer if both inputs are separated, unless of course like they did it in this game where if you're queued with a controller player, then you'll get into mixed input lobbies, but you can opt out of those mixed input lobbies if you really feel like it. And I really appreciate it about this game. And also, I think it is worth mentioning that there is a no skill-based matchmaking in this game, which means that the games kind of feel less sweaty. And because I'm kind of like more towards the top portion of M&K players, I kind of feel like the games are pretty relaxed for me. I'm not really sweating too hard, and I can frag out and have some fun, try out different guns without having to feel like, holy crap, the skill-based matchmaking is getting me destroyed, because when I try to have fun and play different characters or use different guns than our meta, I kind of get punished for it because of skill-based matchmaking and being, you know, I don't want to toot my own horn, but an above average player. So there's a lot of good things about this game, in my opinion. It's a very fun, casual game, and I think a lot of people are harping on it because of the technical issues, but I really hope that they're able to iron those out, because if they do, if they fix the hit reg issues, if they fix the desync or whatever you want to call it, I feel like this game could really kind of find its niche, similar to the finals, where it has a pretty decent player base and people can come back to this when they want, whenever there's an update, and have some fun. But anyways, guys, that'll be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and maybe learned some strategy and some thoughts about this game. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm out.